When you hear the word innovation, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably some flashy new technology, right? A brilliant cutting-edge solution. But what if I told you the real secret to changing the world isn't about finding the perfect answer at all? What if it's about finding the right question? Let's dive into that idea.
And it's not just me saying this. You've got some of the biggest names in tech, like Peter Thiel, basically telling us to forget the fancy gadgets for a second. His point is pretty simple, but powerful. It doesn't matter how cool your technology is. If it doesn't solve a real problem for a real person, it's useless.
And this idea is popping up all over the place. Take Julie Sweet, the CEO of Accenture. She's telling leaders to ask one simple question before they do anything else. What is the problem? Seriously, forget the spreadsheets, forget the solution you think you want to build. It all starts with locking on to a specific, tangible problem.
Okay, but this next one, this is my favorite take on the whole thing. It comes from the CEO of Grammarly, and it's just brilliant. He says, fall in love with the problem, not the solution. And think about that for a second. Why? Because solutions are temporary, right? The tech, the app, the method, it's all going to change. It'll get replaced. But a deep, fundamental human problem, man, that can stick around forever.
So this all points to a really interesting contradiction, almost a paradox, in how we think about creating new things. Here's the paradox in a nutshell. Pretty much our entire lives, we're taught to be solution builders. Answer the question, build the thing. But the innovators who actually succeed, the ones who make a real dent in the universe, they're problem finders first and foremost.
Okay, so how do you actually do that? How do you become a problem finder? Well, the good news is it's not some magic trick. It's a skill. It's about developing what we could call a problem hunter's mindset.
And it really boils down to three key things. First, you've got to have keen observation. Just look around. Spot those little things that are frustrating, the recurring annoyances people deal with every day. Second, you need empathetic understanding. It's not enough to see the problem. You have to feel it, understand the human impact. And third, it takes critical thinking. You have to constantly be asking those two golden questions. Why is it this way? And, most importantly, how could this be better?
All right, so that's the theory. It sounds good, right? But what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's talk about a story you probably know, but maybe not from this angle.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Instagram. We all see it now as this unstoppable giant, but it did not start out that way. In fact, its origin story is probably the best case study out there for shifting from a failing solution to a perfectly defined problem.
See, before there was Instagram, there was an app called Bourbon. And Bourbon was a mess. It tried to do everything. Check-ins, photos, making plans, videos. It was a kitchen sink of features. Super complex, totally unfocused. It was the classic solution looking for a problem. And then you have Instagram. What did it do? One thing. It let you share beautiful photos. That's it. Simple, focused, and laser-targeted on a specific problem.
And just how bad was it for Bourbon? Get this. The co-founder, Kevin Systrom, tells this story about being at a party. He asks the room, "Hey, who here uses my app, Bourbon?" And the number of hands that went up was 3. Just 3 people. Can you imagine? That was the moment. That was when they knew, without a doubt, they had built something that nobody actually wanted.
So what do you do then? Most people would have just packed it in. But instead, Systrom and his co-founder did something amazing. They stopped trying to fix their broken solution, and they started hunting for the real problem.
And you know what's so wild? When they found the problems, they were incredibly simple. They noticed that people did like sharing photos on their clunky app, but they had 3 main issues. Number 1, photos from their phones just looked kind of bad. Number 2, uploading them took forever. And number 3, sharing those photos on different sites like Facebook or Twitter was a total pain.
And this quote from Kevin Systrom just hits the nail on the head. He basically says the hard part isn't coming up with solutions. Things like photo filters, faster uploads, easy sharing buttons. That's the easy stuff. The real work, the thing that's actually difficult but creates all the value, it's finding the right problem to solve in the first place.
So, let's bring this all back home. How can we use this? It's really about making a mental shift, right? Moving away from just what can I build to what needs to be understood.
So if you take anything away from this, let it be these 3 things. 1, innovation starts with a problem, not a cool piece of tech. Period. 2, you can train yourself to be a problem hunter. Just observe, empathize, and think critically. And 3, just like the Instagram story showed us, A really simple solution to a very real problem can have an absolutely massive impact.
So I want to leave you with this question. Instead of asking yourself, what can I build? Maybe start by asking this. The solutions, they'll come and go. But a problem you truly fall in love with? Well, that could be the start of everything.